Night has a strange way of changing things. A thought that barely bothered you this afternoon can suddenly feel much heavier after midnight. A question you pushed aside during the day quietly returns when everything becomes still. The room is quiet. The world has slowed down. And somehow your mind decides this is the perfect time to revisit every unfinished conversation, every uncertainty, every possibility. If that sounds familiar, then maybe this moment is for you. Not to solve everything, not to find all the answers, just to sit together for a little while. Because sometimes the mind isn't looking for solutions. Sometimes it's simply looking for somewhere safe to rest. There is something about nighttime that makes thoughts feel louder than they really are. During the day, life creates distance. There are errands to run, people to talk to, messages to answer, places to be. The mind stays occupied. But at night, distractions step aside. And whatever has been waiting quietly in the background suddenly moves closer. A worry about the future, a regret from the past, a decision you haven't made, a fear you haven't spoken out loud. And maybe you've noticed how convincing those thoughts can sound at this hour, as if every concern suddenly becomes urgent, as if every uncertainty demands an answer before you can sleep. But not every thought that visits you at night deserves your full attention. Some thoughts arrive simply because you're tired. Some arrive because you're overwhelmed. Some are just echoes of a long day. Imagine standing beside a lake. During a windy afternoon, the surface becomes restless. Small waves move in every direction. Everything appears distorted. But the lake itself hasn't changed. Only the surface has. An anxious mind can feel similar. When stress has been building for days or weeks, thoughts become choppy. Everything seems more complicated, more urgent, more threatening. And it's easy to assume that because a thought feels intense, it must also be true. But feelings and facts are not always the same thing. Sometimes anxiety acts like a magnifying glass. It enlarges possibilities. It stretches uncertainties. It takes a small question and turns it into a giant one. And maybe tonight, your mind is trying very hard to protect you. That's often what anxiety is. A protector that's working overtime. A guard that never quite clocks out. Always scanning. Always preparing. Always asking, what if? What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I'm not prepared? What if things don't work out? The problem is that the mind can generate endless questions. And there comes a point when answering them all becomes impossible. It's like trying to count every star in the sky before allowing yourself to rest. The task never truly ends. Perhaps you've been carrying worries for so long that they've started to feel like part of your personality. Maybe you've become known as the person who thinks ahead, the person who plans, the person who notices risks, the responsible one, the careful one, the one who keeps everything together. And while those qualities can be valuable, they can also become exhausting because responsibility often comes with invisible weight. The weight of remembering, the weight of caring, the weight of feeling like you must always be prepared. Eventually, even the strongest shoulders need a break. One of the most difficult things about anxiety is that it often asks for certainty in a world that cannot provide it. It wants guarantees, proof, complete reassurance. But life rarely offers those things. Most of life is lived somewhere between knowing and not knowing, between certainty and possibility, between questions and answers. And maybe the goal isn't to eliminate uncertainty completely, Maybe the goal is learning that you can survive it, that uncertainty is uncomfortable, but not necessarily dangerous, that you don't need every answer tonight. Think about how often you've worried about something that never happened. How many scenarios your mind created that eventually dissolved on their own. How many nights you spent preparing for outcomes that never arrived. This isn't a criticism. It's simply a reminder. The anxious mind is often a storyteller, and not every story becomes reality. Sometimes late-night anxiety is less about the future and more about exhaustion. The brain becomes tired. The body becomes tired. And tired minds tend to see the world through a different lens. Everything feels heavier. Problems feel larger. Hope feels further away. It's a little like looking at a room in the dark. Shapes become harder to recognize. Ordinary objects can appear unfamiliar. Then morning arrives. The light changes. And suddenly, things look different. The room didn't change. The lighting did. Perhaps some thoughts deserve the same patience. Not immediate judgment. Not immediate action. Just a little time and a little light. Maybe there is something you've been carrying alone, something you've replayed so many times that you're exhausted from hearing it. A disappointment, a fear, a loss, a question you can't answer. If so, I hope you know that you don't have to solve every emotional puzzle tonight. Some things heal slowly. Some questions take time. Some chapters reveal their meaning long after we've lived through them. Not everything unfolds according to our preferred timeline. And that can be frustrating, but it can also be strangely comforting because it means you don't have to force clarity right now. There is no shame in being anxious. If you're anxious, that is actually a good sign. A sign that you have self-awareness. A sign of boldness, of being strong. Take a moment and notice where you are. Maybe there's a soft blanket nearby. Maybe the room is dimly lit. Maybe the only sound is a fan turning somewhere in the background. Maybe the night air feels cool against your skin. Just notice. Nothing to change, nothing to improve. Just notice. Because sometimes anxiety pulls us into places that don't exist yet. Future conversations. Future problems, future possibilities. And gently returning to the present can feel like coming home after a long journey. Right now, in this moment, perhaps you are safe. Right now, in this moment, you are breathing. Right now, in this moment, you do not need to carry tomorrow. Tomorrow will eventually arrive. But it has not arrived yet. You are here. And here is enough for now. I think many people secretly believe they need to earn rest, that they must finish everything first, resolve everything first, understand everything first. But human beings were never meant to live that way. There will always be another task, another question, another responsibility waiting somewhere in the distance. If peace only comes after everything is resolved, peace never arrives. Sometimes rest must come first. Not because everything is finished, but because you matter too. So if your mind feels busy tonight, you don't need to fight it. You don't need to win an argument with every thought. You don't need to force yourself to stop thinking. Instead, perhaps you can simply notice. Notice the thoughts. Notice the worries. Notice the stories your mind is creating, and allow them to pass through like clouds crossing a quiet sky. Not because they aren't important, but because you don't have to hold every cloud in place. For a moment, simply notice what's there. the questions, the fears, the possibilities your mind keeps circling back to. Watch them gently, the way you might watch leaves drifting along a river. You don't have to grab each one as it passes. You don't have to follow every current. Some thoughts are meant to move through, not stay. And sometimes peace begins when you stop demanding answers from yourself and allow your mind a little room to breathe. There is a gentleness available in this moment, a softness, a permission to stop carrying every answer, a permission to be uncertain, a permission to be human. You do not have to be perfectly calm. You do not have to be completely fearless. You do not have to have your life figured out. You are allowed to be in the middle of things. Most people are. As the night continues around you, maybe let your shoulders relax a little. Maybe unclench your jaw. Maybe allow your breathing to find its own comfortable rhythm. Let the room hold you for a while. Let the night be quiet. Let yourself rest, even if your life is still unfinished, because everyone's life is unfinished. That's what it means to be alive. There are always loose ends, always unknowns, always new chapters waiting somewhere ahead. And despite that, rest is still allowed. Peace is still allowed. Tonight is still allowed. Whatever tomorrow brings, you do not have to meet it tonight. For now, you only need this moment, this breath, this pause, this small pocket of calm in the middle of a busy world. And if your mind begins wandering again, that's okay. Gently bring it back. Not with force, not with frustration, just with kindness. The same kindness you would offer someone you care about, because you deserve that kindness too. Wherever you are right now, I'm glad you made it here. Thank you for listening, liking, and commenting. Please share Soul Planet with someone who you think may need it.